Hi, everyone. Please welcome to the Lean in Pakistan story number 30. And this time we are so excited to be interviewing the dynamic, amazing Syeda Henna Babar. First off, I'm Tars Dawood, president and founder of Lean in Pakistan Foundation. And Henna is actually one of our first members, as well as supporters, as well as patrons of this amazing organization inspired by Sheryl Sandberg. Henna, welcome here today.
Thank you.
We are absolutely honored, thrilled, and beyond delighted to be interviewing you. As you are quite an icon in your own right, I thought it would be better if you speak first a couple minutes about all the things you're up to at the moment, as there were too many accolades for me to detail.
Okay, on the business side, I am chairperson of Dynipon Inc.'s Pakistan Limited. I am director of Packages Real Estate and advisor to the consumer division in Packages Converters, which is a subsidiary 100% owned by Packages Limited, the whole group. On the foundation side, I sit on the boards of all our family foundations, which is Babar Ali Foundation, Syed Muratab Ali Trust Foundation, and we are creating a new school for girls in Bulle Shah. So ITI Trust is doing that, and I'm part of the overseeing committee. I'm also on the board of governors of Ali Institute of Education since 1994. On the literary side, I have written 10 books in English and 3 in Urdu. And I was supposed to have my book launched, but due to the recent events in Lahore, I had to postpone it. And then I've also composed Hum Naat and Salam in Urdu. I wrote the Hum Naat and Salam myself and composed the music and sung them myself as well, which is available on the YouTube channel. Then I have a website on which all my books are available for reading free of cost. They can be downloaded and read, and so can the Hum Naat and Salam be downloaded and listened to. So briefly, this is what I'm up to these days.
Fantastic.
And I'm a honorary friend of the US-Pakistan Women's Council.
Wonderful. I guess there's no need to say wow, because of course your accolades and achievements speak for themselves. But today's interview is really a focus on you and your journey to the place that you are in now, as that journey is quite inspiring, and we hope it'll inspire those watching, as well as let them know a little bit more about you and your personality. So Henna, what were you like as a little girl?
Well, as a little girl, I grew up with a lot of discipline, and I think that has paid off in life. We were woken up at 5:30 for our Fajr prayers, then read the Holy Quran at the dining table with Dad. Got into my riding outfit, went for riding, whether it was winter or summer or spring. Came home, showered, had breakfast, went to school, came back, had lunch, would go for tennis and swimming in the summer, but only tennis in the winter. And then we did our homework, and then it was family time or dinner time at our house has always been 7:30. Now Dad has pushed it earlier to 6:30 because he sleeps by 9. And lights were out at 9. There was no question that you could read anything after 9 p.m. So if I wanted to read anything, dinner was at 7:30. So I had to find time during the day to read my books, because 9 p.m. lights were out and Mom and Dad would come and check if lights were seriously out or not. So that's the discipline I grew up with. I have no regrets because it taught me time management very early in life, which we learned from Franklin Covey through Focus and all these other leadership teachers now. So very early, I learned time management and what I needed to do when, and prioritize life and set goals starting almost, 55 years ago.
That's a very important start to your life journey. You yourself, of course, are a wife, a mother, have children. Have you followed the same pattern of discipline with them?
No, because everybody is different and times are different. So I let Mubarak, I gave her a totally free hand as to when she wanted to study, what she wanted to study, when she wanted to get up, when she wanted to meet her friends or play games. She never was much into sports, but she was more into debating and dramatics, more into debating and into IT. So I let her grow up as she wanted. Also, I went to the convent of Jesus and Mary, so the discipline at home was reinforced in school. And I put her into Lahore Grammar School, which is much more liberal than the convent of Jesus and Mary. The nuns have never forgiven me for that because she's my only child, and she said they told me, reprimanded me that I did not send my daughter to the convent. So that is the black mark which the nuns have against me, or the sisters. Um, but I realized that Mubarak needed a different environment compared to myself, so I gave her a free hand. And of course, Faisal was a visiting husband because he was involved with local politics in Kabirwala and Khanewal, and was also a farmer. So he would visit us in Lahore, twice a month or 3 times a month, stay for a few days, and then go back to the village.
Of course, and Mubarak has become quite the high achiever in her own right.
Yes, she has. She has worked for WhatsApp and is now wanting to do something in mental health globally and AI that would globally reduce the cost of solving mental health problems. So I don't know what she's working on, but she's very committed to doing something for mental health globally that would reduce the costs to the patient for seeking mental health guidance, digitally.
Wonderful. And you spoke about your childhood of discipline. Have you continued to be a disciplined person yourself throughout your life journey?
Oh, yes, I'm a great one for making my yearly goals and plans, and I still make a daily plan, have a moleskin diary in which I note all my appointments and what needs to get done. I've been writing a daily journal for the last 10 years. And I also, write poetry when I'm inspired. So I find that discipline pays off because it gives me time when I need it.
Absolutely. And since you're someone who is accomplished a lot in your career, what do you feel about discipline and achievement?
I think they go hand in hand because if you're disciplined, you care and value your time. If you don't value your own time, you're definitely not going to value the time of anybody else. So it starts with yourself. When you value your own time, you don't want to waste it. I've never had time for coffee parties and committee parties and unnecessary, gossip. I don't gossip, so I never have gossip, on my radar. And I've never found any interest in discussing clothes and jewelry or handbags or what's the latest movie or what's the latest fashion in the country or outside the country.
And as you were a little girl and you had the discipline, you mentioned sports and you mentioned prayer and you mentioned family time and of course school. Were you raised to have career goals yourself?
Yes, my father, always encouraged me to pursue my passions. I wrote my first Urdu couplet at the age of 9. And then I had 2 notebooks which I filled with Urdu ghazals and couplets. Showed them to Faiz Ahmed Faiz, and he said in Urdu, 15 saal mein shairi aa jayegi. In 15 years, you will become a poet. And I thought in 15 years, I will die at the age of 27. 15 years seems, eternities away. So I had went to see fairs, picked up the notebooks, came home, tore them up, burnt them, and put them in the dustbin. Because I'm pretty much a perfectionist. I said, if fairs thinks I'll become a poet in 15 years, it means all this is trash and rubbish and it should go in the dustbin. So that's the kind of freedom I had to pursue my interests.
And we have generations of family friendship, but it would be wonderful for those who are not as familiar if you can speak a bit about your father and what he has done and how you're continuing that part of the legacy as well.
Yeah, you know, the values that we have as a family and as a business are 150 years old. Basically, our core values are honesty, integrity, courage, speaking the truth, leadership, and standing up for one another, and upholding, you know, the core beliefs of. This is something that my great-grandfather Syed Bazir Ali laid the foundation. My grandparents carried it forward as torchbearers. And my father, when he set up packages, instilled these core values in the organization. And I'm happy to say that we started business at packages in 1957. And since then, the packages group now has 16 companies under its umbrella. And we uphold those core values even after 75 years, 65 years. Yeah.
It's wonderful, and a lot of philanthropy for the nation as our families have worked together on slums and other philanthropic
Yes.
work, and you yourself have worked with me personally on my foundation's work on flood relief. So
Yes.
there's a lot of contribution to the community. And so when you stepped up and said you wanted to support my dreams of making Leena in Pakistan an important part here in our nation, and we've seen circles grow, and you know, you've been seeing the other 29 interviews before yours that are really, really exciting. And so women across our nation are stepping up to celebrate themselves, be celebrated, and to inspire others. And one of the main reasons we wanted to position your interview at this stage, because we could have easily started with you, but we wanted to sort of build up to you in many ways, because the other women are building their dreams, but you are doing so much to continue a legacy, build your own dreams, and then you've inspired your daughter for the great things she's done as well. So that's a lot for one person. I wonder how you managed to do it all, Henna.
I don't know. You know, even in the office, I keep taking interest in various things that we're doing. The latest thing that we're doing is, you know, we have started a diversity and inclusion committee or a council, and we are merging it with sustainability, and we're going to follow all the SDG goals of the UN when it comes to diversity and inclusion. And they've asked me to be chairperson of that committee or council, which I gladly accept. But I'm a hard taskmaster. I keep asking them, you know, what are they doing about it and what are the CEOs doing about it? So we are in the process of, you know, realigning ourselves and thinking about gender, you know, in the holistic 360-degree approach according to the SDGs that are laid out by the UN, and aligning them with our core values, syncing them in, and, you know, moving forward. So I think that will be productive and fruitful. And I just have fun at work. You know, if I didn't have fun at work, I would never be here. I love and enjoy my work.
What do you love and enjoy the most about your work?
Every day is different. You know, even if I have one or two meetings, I'll go to some other department, you know, HR, because, you know, the human capital that, especially the young human capital that we are inducting as MTOs, is very important to me. And then we have most of our HR VPs are women. And I've decided to mentor them. I developed 14 modules of leadership training, which I'm sharing with them. And Tara, if you like, I can share all those modules with you.
Please,
And
please
you
do.
can get your lean in circles to do the leadership training for the women that you encounter. I'd be happy to do that.
Fantastic, fantastic idea. And we can discuss that after this call because I think that would be a wonderful, wonderful benefit to the circles and of course the members. And Henna, what are your biggest goals right now?
Sure. Pardon me?
What are your biggest goals right now?
I couldn't hear that.
What are your biggest goals right now?
Personally, my biggest goals are to see that the young talent we have across the group on the business side, we are able to retain. You know, if they leave for a job abroad, that is not something I can do anything about because those are the conditions in the country. But we definitely don't want to lose our young talent to other corporations in Lahore or Karachi. So that's my goal. That's why I've decided to mentor the MTOs and the HR VPs and the younger talent that we keep inducting in the organizations across the group. So that's one. The other goal is to keep writing poetry. I was thinking maybe I'll put a book of quotations or something like that together. You know, in life one learns so much, so maybe some snippets of, I don't know whether I can call it wisdom or not, but what I've learned from life, not an autobiography, but, you know, some brief notes or something. So I'm thinking of writing that. I'm already working on volume 11, which is called Feelings. And what else? In the fall, inshallah, I will be recording some more Hamnat and Salam. And on the personal side, my goal is to stay healthy and be half my size because I'm overweight right now.
And
So
how
these are my goals.
and how do you do your work-life balance?
My work-life balance is basically I do not take work home. I will try and finish whatever I can during the day. And if I can't finish it, it will have to wait till tomorrow, unless it's not something that is, urgent or absolutely must be done at that time. Otherwise, I will stay in the office for an extra hour or two and get it done. But I don't believe in taking work home because then you can never relax and unwind. And if I can't relax and unwind, I can never be fresh the next day and be at my best, which I want to be every day in my life while I'm working.
And have there been a very significant moment you remember in your own life when you leaned in to your career or dreams?
Yes, I think it started very early. When I came back to Pakistan after doing my bachelor's and master's from the University of Michigan, I wanted to set up a publishing house and I called it Indus Publications. I set it up. Dad gave me 50,000 rupees as a loan. And he said, you will have to pay it back in 6 months. That was a very stringent condition, you know. And I did not know that in 6 months would fly by and I would not be able to pay back the loan. So I published 2 books. One was Wet Sun, my own poetry, and the other was Tot Batot. I had it illustrated by Afshar, who was a cartoonist with Jung Group. And he did beautiful illustrations of Tot Batot, which we published. First time Tot Batot was published with illustrations in Pakistan, in color. And then I asked Dad, who's going to work in my company? He said, no one, you are. So as MD, my salary was 1,000 rupees. This is 1982. and MD had no staff. MD had to do everything, right from the salesperson to the marketing manager. Everything had to be done by me, other than the financial side, which the finance team was taking care of. So 6 months came around, and Dad said, "Okay, you have to give me 50,000 rupees back because you agreed to do it in 6 months. I never told you to do it in 6 months, but you said you can do it in 6 months. So where's my money?" I said, "I have no money. I want more money so that I can sell my books and I need more staff." So he said, "Okay, I'm shutting you down." So I stormed out of his office, went home and cried and, sobbed and read my sob story to Mom, and didn't get any sympathy from Mom either. So she said, "Why were you stupid enough to agree that you can pay back 50,000 rupees in 6 months?" So no sympathy. So then I thought, what do I do now? So I had to liquidate all the books, went around selling them myself. But they were hard to liquidate because I wanted to sell them at a low price, dot by dot with the color illustrations. I was selling only at 20 rupees. And my book I was also selling at 20 rupees. And the booksellers, particularly Sange Meal and Feroz Sons, etc., wanted me to increase the price by 50% so that they would get a 50% discount and then I could sell it. I said, "No, I'm not increasing the price of the book." They said, "All right, we're not buying from you." So I literally had to go from door to school and sell as many copies as I could. And I paid back Dad, I think 25,000 or 30,000 rupees. So then he took over the stocks and, sent them to schools, as a donation from packages or whatever. So he said, "Young lady, lesson number 1 is that you know nothing about business because you did not get a BBA or an MBA. So you start from zero at packages." So then I started working in they had just created this cell called the consumer division. It was called the consumer department at that time. So I started working there in the marketing side and, helped them and guided them and learned a lot about the business and how it was being done. And the first ad I made was I took the tissue paper of Faye and put it next to rose petal and realized we were giving 40% more tissue paper at the same price. So that was the first ad for rose petal. In Pakistan Times, we had on the back page a 20 by 3 column ad with one spot color, and it said 40% tissue at the same price. So that's how I got rose petal to become a leader brand in 1982. I hadn't read any marketing.
And it's still
Yes, and it still is today. And I hadn't done any majors in marketing. Did not have a BBA, but it was just common sense that guided me to do this. So then Dad said, "Okay, now why don't you study business and, do your courses while you're working?" So I did, courses at LUMS. I did courses wherever I could go. I did some courses at Stanford. I did some courses online, and studied marketing. American Management Foundation Association had an office in Islamabad. So I did 8, 9 certifications with them. And I still believe that as long as you have the capacity and ability to learn from anyone and from anywhere, you can keep growing. So that's my philosophy even today.
fantastic. And have you got a wish list for the future?
Yes, my wish list for the future is that I would like to visit Iceland, see the Norwegian fjords, perhaps make another visit to Australia and New Zealand on the travel side. And I want to see Pakistan prosper. The mess that we're currently in, I hope we will come out as a more resilient and a stronger nation. I have more hope in the younger generation to be business leaders, and hopefully some of them from the socio-economic side can also take the leadership roles. Because I think the current leadership, no matter who they are all above 60. And there's a certain amount of energy that you have when you're 40. And I think the future leadership of Pakistan should be between the ages of 35 and 45, because we have a young youth bulge, which is, 90 million between the ages of 30 and 25. I mean, under 35. And as much as we would like to say that we understand their psyche and their problems and their issues, we really don't understand them as well as somebody who would come from among their midst. So I would like to see the future leadership develop themselves between the ages of 35 and 45 and lead this country to be a powerhouse in the future, especially in the IT sector.
Absolutely. And you yourself mentor so much youth. And even through Lean in Pakistan, when we had our big conference in Lahore, you gave such an inspiring speech. And through my own foundation's Educate a Girl conference in Lahore, you also spoke to, 400 young women. And that was quite inspiring what you've been saying.
Thank you.
So that must be a source of great pride for you, your own influence and how you're seeing Lean in Pakistan grow.
Yes, it's very nice to see Lean in Pakistan grow. What I would now like to see Lean in Pakistan do is reach out to the less privileged sectors of society, particularly the second-tier education level schools and colleges in the urban towns and in the smaller towns, and develop a national network where you can train people, groom people, and see them grow and flourish and become young entrepreneurs on their own.
Such an important need for Pakistan. And
yes.
You, Henna, have yourself contributed a lot to development. And that's very, very important. What would you say to youth that are leaving Pakistan right now, or parents that are encouraging? Obviously, the masses are staying here, but many people might be looking to leave and build a future outside of Pakistan. You believe in Pakistan, as do I. What would you say to them?
I would say you are only going for a short-term gain. It's not a long-term gain. And when you have to do the daily chores as well as work 24/7, it's tough, It's tough here as well for those who, don't have support staff. But this is our country. I mean, if we are not committed to our country, how can we expect people from outside to be committed from our country? And I strongly believe that we really should not be dependent on foreign loans and foreign debt, which is growing out of proportion. We really should manage our own finances, and Pakistan needs stringent economic reforms, which are going to be very painful. And they are not popular on the electoral rolls, They are going to be very unpopular because they are going to be painful, and they are all going to ask us to have financial discipline. Right now, we as a country and as a government have little financial discipline because we are living beyond our means. We think debt is something that we can enjoy and keep living in debt beyond our means, and that is not the right thing to do. We don't do that with our own household budget. So why are we doing it as a nation and as a country?
Very, very wise words. And now, as we're getting to the close of our time, the most important thing is I want to just thank you for being there at the inception of Lean in Pakistan in 2015, and always being a sounding ear and a friend and well-wisher. And thank you for your time today. Your story was incredibly inspirational, and your thoughts and wisdom very much heard.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and I wish Lean all the luck. and I really want to see Lean grow and flourish and become one of the leading vibrant women's organizations for empowerment in Pakistan.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.